It is now 7 o'clock. We're going to call the regular meeting to order. Requirements of the Sunshine Law have been met. This meeting was advertised in Burlington County Times. Electronic notice was given to NJAC 5:39-1.5. We will now start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now have a moment of silence. Roll call.
Committeewoman Dr. Caldwell.
Present.
Committeewoman Ms. Maddox Cantini. Present. Committeeman Mr. Carp.
Here.
Committeewoman Ms. Munkle.
Here.
Mayor Henley.
Here.
Also present, the solicitor, the township clerk, township administrator, the deputy township administrator, police chief, the fire and EMS chief, and the public works director.
Thank you. We will now start with the presentation. West Hampton Township Emergency Services firefighter/EMS. Julian Harbar. Was it R? That's what I said, right? Yeah. Here with me. So this year we started at the fire department and employee of the quarter. So Julian Harbaugh is our fire department employee of the quarter, the first one we've ever done. Julian has been an employee with us for about 2 years now, I would say. Julian is a quiet person. We want you to hear him say more than 4 words. But Julian brings a lot to the table for our department. Julian is always training. He's always looking to make himself better. He comes to work early, ahead of time. He's up early before he leaves for the day, make sure that everything's in place. And train. He absolutely loves to train. So it is my honor to meet Julian Harbaugh. Our first employee of the quarter, he'll get his own parking spot, which is the firehouse sometimes is hard to find in the morning when shifts go on. So Julian will have his own parking spot right next to the firehouse, so he doesn't have to move it halfway through the day. So, Julian, congratulations. Speech. We will now have public service electric and gas system modernization program. Kathleen.
So, good evening.
Catherine.
I am Kelly. Sorry. So the agenda wasn't. I'm Kelly Roy. I'm with PSE&G Gas Construction. I am the project manager for the work that we're going to review. In addition to myself, Danella Collison is with us tonight. So Danella manages the outreach with the customer side of it. So we'll get into that a little bit towards the end of the program. So good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for allowing us to attend to go over the project work that was identified in West Hampton in the Holly Hill section of your township. So just a brief overview, and I'm sure everyone in the room is familiar, but PSE&G is one of the largest combined electric and gas companies with the largest aging infrastructure of gas infrastructure, cast iron mains. We have the largest inventory across the United States. We are across 15 counties and a total of 269 towns served by PS across the state. So a quick overview, PSE&G is entering into its 4th gas system modernization program stipulated by the Board of Public Utilities in New Jersey. This program was identified to assist us in upgrading our infrastructure, concentrating on old cast iron mains that are on low pressure systems, as well as unprotected steel mains that were installed 1961 or prior, and then a vintage of years between 1961 and 1970. Because they were unprotected, it was the type of infrastructure being installed during those years when neighborhoods were being built. They are degrading quickly than other material in other vintage years. This particular neighborhood in West Hampton is unprotected steel gas mains, and based off of that and a leak count of repaired leaks over the years, it has qualified for this type of system modernization. There's approximately 4 miles of gas main replacement identified, which impacts about 415 services. So part of the project work is us putting new plastic mains in the ground, and then replacing any services from the street to the home. And with that, we upgrade the service, the meter points. We are, from a safety perspective, stipulated by the Board of Public Utilities to move the meters from inside the homes to the outside of the homes. That allows for a quicker fire safety response if there's an emergency and we need to reach shut-off valves at the home and at the curb. It also allows us to install a flow valve, which if there's a change in gas at any time during any type of emergent event from inside the home or outside the home, it's a shut-off valve that shuts off gas from us in an emergent situation. So with that said, we will, the work at everyone's homes will be scheduled. There will be appointments made. There will be contact with customers ahead of any work happening on a property. So we are targeting a start date. I know it says July 6th up here, but we've been delayed with weather and then being able to present here. But we are targeting a start date of next week. We have a meeting tomorrow in the field with police and town, representatives to kind of target exactly when and where we're starting, but we're looking at Monday as a start date. Our start point will be on West Kensington, near Bloomfield, and then working our way through that street and then up. We're trying to get as much done on those 2 drive roads ahead of school start. So kind of a quick view of the project and what we're doing over there. We will continue to coordinate with the Township Director of Public Works, with the Engineer Department, and especially the Chief of Police and Traffic Control. On a daily basis, we'll be communicating, where we're going to be, how we're going to be working. There will be no parking signs posted. So a lot of communication ahead of the work starting each day and each week as we progress. I'll pause if there's any questions. We do estimate approximately 10 months of work from start to finish of the main and service work, and then restoration would be after that once settlement periods have occurred. And we work with the town closely to set up the paving to ensure weather is permittable and things like that. So I know this is a little bit of an eye strain, but this is that Holly Hill section. These are the streets that are qualifying for the work. There will be additional communication shared with the public once we have, a start date. Part of our process, which is kind of towards the end of this presentation, but something that Danella does as far as outreach to customers, we provide letters in advance of the work starting. That'll go in the mail, U.S. Postal Service. We also door hang. It's a door hanger that's left at every property, which has that same letter inserted. And then ahead of, by Thursday, Friday, we will send out robocalls as well as emails to all impacted constituents with the work. And then as the project progresses, each week we'll kind of repeat that process as far as the emails, the robocalls, and then the last form of notification will be the no parking signs if the street has parking, just to ensure we usually put them up 24 to 48 hours in advance of impacting an area. So that will, cover the outreach for now in detail. If there's any questions about that. Okay. And again, this is just kind of reviewing the key customer benefits. We talked about the meter set relocation a little bit, the safety component of moving them from inside to outside, being able to now install excess flow valve, reduction of leaks. This neighborhood does have a leak history over the last 10 to 15 years. So by us doing this proactively, it will prevent those emergent type situations where we're responding to gas leaks in the winter months and at an emergent situation. From a customer standpoint, this particular neighborhood is already on high pressure, so you have your high energy efficient or your high energy efficient appliances, and will continue to benefit from having those with the high pressure system. And the biggest, one of the biggest accomplishments of this program is also reducing those methane emissions across the state of New Jersey. The gas leaks do contribute to that, and systems that get clean, in a controllable environment. So we're very proud of this program overall and being able to reduce that for the state of New Jersey. And this is just a high level of the outreach we talked about. We're going to utilize working with the town, any social media platforms to share the information, any community-wide platforms that you use. However, you need our support, we're here for you. There's a dedicated project line for this work, so it's not a typical PSE&G customer service line. Customer can call, leave a message, or they can email, and that's managed by Danella directly. So within 24 hours, she will address any problems, concerns. We will share that information. We have cards that we hand out in the field with police officers or residents as people are asking questions. And that concludes the presentation.
So if I may, I also asked our engineer to be here, as you can imagine, and Kelly touched a bit on it. There's a lot of restoration to roads that are, there's a lot of roads that are going to be disturbed. Restoration to those roads is, the meat plan, and how the project is going to be disrupted. So we have spent quite a bit of time in work, going over some different options. He is here. I'd like to give him an opportunity to kind of tell you how we are ultimately planning to get the roads to an acceptable condition following this work.
So, per your ordinance, they're responsible for paving half the road if they, they put their main on one side. And if they end up going on to the other side of the road and putting services in there, then they'll be responsible for paving it curb to curb. But their plan right now is to just stay on one side of the road and pave half the road. Most of these streets were paved half-width by New Jersey American. Around 2016, they had a one-way replacement project, so that half the road is in pretty good shape. And so this is the half that they're in, it's not in such good shape. So you get kind of a benefit by having them put this gas main in and getting, half the road paved for free. So the other thing is, some of the roads, there were a couple of roads out there that, weren't in good shape. The water company didn't go down that half of the road. So we kind of worked out a swap tentatively right now. To say, you guys will pave curb to curb on that road, and we'll pave curb to curb on these other roads. And those roads that we elected to do, we put into the NJDOT application for this year. And that's David Street, part of the problem, not the whole thing. And a very small part of the drive. So that's tentative spot. We did put an application into DOT, but when we see how much money we get from DOT, we can always kind of change things a little bit and have to see how their project goes too. So it's kind of a work in progress, but we'll be out there watching them when they're back on the trenches. They already did trench work on Bloomfield and on Ogden because we have the DOT project scheduled on those two streets right now. We'll be paving those about in the end of August. So that was to everybody's benefit, and that we already had the roads scheduled to be done, and they were able to get their mains in there beforehand. So that's about it, I would say. So if there's any questions.
I just had a quick question. I was looking at your, I guess it was page 5 of your PowerPoint. I see that like Howell Drive and Lambert Drive are under review, but what about Price Drive?
So right now, Price Drive would not qualify based off of the vintage of this field. So what we're doing is, something we're going to discuss is that would be the only road remaining. So what that means, just as a quick example, I don't have the exact year in front of me, I apologize, but let's say that for some reason that main was installed in 1976. It falls outside of the stipulations that we have to follow with prioritizing. However, what we're working on, and I have to talk to the team about, is looking for approval to do that road. So it is not the only remaining unprotected steel road in the neighborhood, But we have to go through a couple additional steps on our end, which we're working on in parallel, but we won't have answers on that for a little bit.
Thank you.
Rick, how does that repair plan for roads work when it's a cul-de-sac? I do see one cul-de-sac on here at the end of Stratton. Oh, then there's two cul-de-sacs. There's Fort Place, and then there's, if you go north on that, right next to Holly, there's Stratton Drive, and it ends in a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, that's all the east, it's up east, off the east bank.
No, office
Off
ceiling.
of Sealy. Yeah.
So, that would be, I think, that was, a cul-de-sac that, the one company went into, and they did pay half of that road. So I would expect that, PSE&G would be paying the other half of that cul-de-sac.
Yes, sir.
Doing the whole half.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And Kelly, was it?
Yes.
Thanks again for being here, and we're appreciative of the comprehensive communication plan with the residents. I know the police department put something out about this a few weeks ago as well. Is this something you can share with our team so we can put it out for our residents on our Facebook page?
Yeah, we just, we have to adjust the map a little bit because it does have the location of the gas infrastructure. We can't make that public knowledge, but we'll adjust the map accordingly and be able to share a map of exactly where the work will be taking place.
Quick question about Howe Drive and Lambert Drive. What exactly is under review? Are they similar to Price, to where you're not sure?
Yeah, so it's a similar situation. What we're working through with Jim and Rick closely is we understand that the history of both of the roads and being under moratorium and being paved again, they do qualify. So we're just trying to work through an understanding and a plan with how we're going to address those, or wait until a later date possibly with moratorium status, but we're working through that. So that's the under review is we're continuing conversations. When we presented the project, we were made aware of the recent activity on both roads.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
Sorry, you said you're moving meters from inside of residents' homes to the outside. What
Correct.
type of work does that entail?
So typically we will, so it's the service point from the street where it connects to the main to the home. So we get behind the curb, either utilizing the existing piping, which means we might have two openings, one near the street and one near the home, to get pipe in the existing infrastructure. If we can't do that for some reason, if the pipe size is smaller, depending on each service is evaluated, but we may have to still dig two holes, but we would use what we refer to as like a missile, like an underground hot hole. They would shoot underground with markouts in place to not disturb and open cut the lawn. The last resort is open cutting a lawn to get us to the premise, and then we would replace and restore in kind. We would put grass back, we would reseed if necessary, put the sod back and maintain that way. The meter work, what happens is we now have to make sure that we can pipe outside, to inside, so it's new piping, plumbing piping, to the meter set that's going to be installed outside of the home. And then we disconnect the old connection in the home and they remove the old meter. Does that answer?
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Okay. And there's a little bit of downtime, that's why those appointments are scheduled. So once we make that appointment and we're ready to do that transition, we say between 2 to 4 hours where the customer would lose their gas service while we're making those reconnections. And then we relight their appliances for them before we leave the premise. So it's a window of 2 to 4 hours. Typical average is a 2-hour impact to the customer.
When you dig the street for the main, are those PSE&G employees, or do you subcontract that with
So
them?
this is going to be subcontracted out. So we have a PSE&G inspector with the contractor at all times. We also have a PSE&G supervisor overseeing the work, and then we have a contractor. But the inside work in the home, it will only be PSE&G employees. So our contractor does not do any work inside the customer's home.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
And by the way, Kelly, it was Catherine on here. I didn't mess that up. Somebody else
I
did.
saw it when I came in. I'm sorry that we missed it. It was a last minute change.
Nah, no worries. I just didn't want to take the blame for it. Me too. Approval of minutes. June 9th, regular meeting minutes. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Dr. Caldwell?
Yes.
Ms. Maddox Canteen?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Ms. Mungo? Abstain. Mayor Henley?
Yes.
4 yes, motion passes.
We're going to open the open meeting to public comment on agenda items only. Please remember to state your name and address for the record.
Gilbert Byrne, 138 Winstead. Two comments on the agenda, items 12A and 12B. So on 12A, which is the resolution approving the agreement with LEW, that's 102-26, I was taking a look at the resolution, and then I looked at the attachment, which was the contract/agreement. So my comment is, the resolution states this was not open for public bid. Is that accurate? There was no sort of bidding process? It was just solicited to provide the services?
Yes.
Okay. And was the solicitation posted that listed the requirements for the response? Because I looked on the website, I couldn't find it. Normally, we sort of see these RFPs kind of posted up on the township website.
This is no cost. We're not purchasing.
Just contracting for the services. Okay. My only other comment about that was the contract/agreement piece of this. Is this the agreement that we're executing, the one that's attached in the packet? Do you know?
I believe so, but
My only observation on that is that, on that contract/agreement, which I believe is, let me see if I can find it. So it's page 2 of the, I'm sorry, page 2 of the proposal/contract. This is what caught my eye, is that there's an arbitration clause inserted into this. And we typically do not agree to arbitration clauses. The reason I asked if it was sort of posted as a proposal is that you can sort of waive that if you asked for that to be included in the response to the proposal. That's why I was looking to read the actual, request to see what was put out there to receive the solicitation back. If this was added in after, my understanding on New Jersey public contract law is that that would be a violation of the New Jersey public contract law. I'm just bringing that up. You can continue to sort of knowingly agree to the arbitration, assuming you know that it's there in the agreement. That's why I was asking if this was the actual contract agreement that you'd be executing. So that's my comment. I'm typically skittish around arbitration clauses. I guess check with township solicitor on that, see what his comfort level is like on that. Going on to 12B, authorizing the membership in Camden County. My only observation on this is, in the packet, it was referencing Bergen County, so I'm not sure why the paperwork said Bergen County, because it says here we're executing an agreement with Camden County. So is Camden part of Bergen County? I'm just curious as to why Bergen County was mentioned in the paperwork as the overriding authority to enter into the co-op. That's the end of my comment.
Thank you.
Gary.
With no other public comments on agenda items only, do we have a motion to close?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Reports, we have police, public works, construction, and courts. Ordinance, second reading, 9-2026. Bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of various capital equipment and completion of various capital improvement in and for the Township of West Hampton, County of Burlington, New Jersey. Appropriating the sum of $1,620,000, therefore authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds or bond anticipation notes of the Township of West Hampton, County of Burlington, New Jersey, in the aggregate principal amount of up to $1,539,000, making certain determinations and covenants, and authorizing certain related actions in connection with the foregoing. Do you have a motion?
I make a motion for ordinance 9-26.
Mayor, you got to open the floor first.
I thought I opened the floor after the motion.
You would do a both. Whatever your comfort level is.
Second.
It's not our first rodeo. Now we open for public comment. Thank you, Kim. With no public comment, roll call.
Dr. Caldwell.
Yes.
Ms. Maddox Canteen.
Yes.
Mr. Carr.
Yes.
Ms. Mungo.
Yes.
Mayor Henley.
Yes.
5 yes, motion passes.
Resolution 101-26, payment of vouchers. This resolution approves the payment of bills through 7-7-2026. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second, Caldwell.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Dr. Caldwell.
Yes.
Ms. Maddox Canteen. Mr. Carr.
Yes.
Ms. Mungo.
Yes.
Mayor Henley.
Yes.
4 yes, 1 abstention, motion passes.
Consent agenda resolution notes. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted with a single motion. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of availability of funds. Any items requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda. Question: Do you want to review 12A or no? Or you feel comfortable?
I feel comfortable with the council approving the resolution with them and subject to my legal review of the terms of the contract, which is customary for me to review contract, make any changes that are necessary as long as the substance of the work remains the same.
Fair enough. Motion?
I make a motion for the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion?
Apologize, I didn't ask sooner, but could you just explain D, the termination of the Animal Control Services Agreement?
D, the
Termination of the Animal Control Services Agreement. Can you just explain that to me? Or why? Okay, sir.
Jim, if you want me, I can just give a summary of, under the terms of the contract, for no cause, the contract can be terminated based on 90 days' notice, and that's what's being exercised here. Based on the experience, the township administrator wants to go back to using the same animal control officer that's previously been used.
Okay, thank you.
Just a comment, thanks, Gary, on B. I don't want to say it's immaterial, it's definitely material, but I think entering the co-op's a good opportunity for the township. So it's a misprint. I'm sure it could be fixed.
Absolutely. Thanks, Gary. Roll call.
Dr. Caldwell.
Yes.
Ms. Maddox Canteen.
Yes.
Mr. Carr.
Yes.
Ms. Mungo.
Yes.
Mayor Henley.
Yes.
5 yes, motion passes.
Now, open the meeting for public comment. Please remember to state your name and address for record.
Hello, my name is Michelle Luster. I live at 97 Alexander Way.
Hi, my name's Megan Mitchell. I live at 87 Alexander Way.
Just a little bit of background. I bought my first ever home here in 1999, and when I moved away and then found myself needing to come back and purchase a home, this is where I looked. I've lived here for 2.5 years since then. I lived in Rolling Hills before that. Right now, I don't feel safe in my home, and there's a number of reasons why. I live in Laurel Run, and we're having a number of issues in Laurel Run with some of the children in the community and their accountability. Are you aware of anything that's been happening in there? Okay, so just for everybody's clarity, things like people peeing on the sides of our homes, golf balls being thrown in our back windows, garage doors being kicked in, large fights in the open area, fireworks that were going off by the kids, destruction of the playground and the lighting, nuisance, trash everywhere, car break-ins. That's what we're dealing with right now in our community. It's horrendous, and it's gotten worse since the kids have gotten out of school. A lot of them, everybody knows who they are. We had the pleasure to meet with Chief Ferguson earlier last week. We're at our wits' end. I don't feel safe. She doesn't feel safe. All these people that are here do not feel safe. That's why we are here. We are hoping to request that, why am I forgetting the name of it? It's on my phone. I forget what it's called. That's why I have to look it up. The ordinance, I'll just say, the ordinance where...
I read your comment on Facebook.
Yes, so where the parents are responsible for their children. We know there are steps that go with that, but at this point, it's been out of control. I put a survey out to just my community this morning, and then later on in the afternoon, I thought to do it to the entire town of West Hampton. Right now, I'm over 40 people that have replied in favor of this. Obviously, this has only been a couple hours. We're looking for the support from the township in getting this ordinance enacted, so the police department, when they can come in, there's not a whole lot they can do with these kids, and they know that they can't be touched, and they don't really care. And their parents don't really care what they're doing. But it's come to the point where we are not safe. Our properties aren't safe. We've been begging our HOA to be able to put fencing in at a cost of us because of the safety issue. But it still isn't getting any better. Like, that's just something that I don't even know what to say. We're at our wits' end. We're asking for some help. We're asking that you please relook at this ordinance and enact it here in the town so that the police department can do their job appropriately with what is going on in our community.
Thank you. I have a question. So I know that you guys have a plan that you're working on, right? But do they have, so their HOA, right, because they have an HOA. Are they obligated, or can we obligate them to have any security there?
Security there, just road patrols, I stepped it up.
No, I mean outside of us, right? Like they have a lot of their own things over there, right? They collect their own trash, they have their own...
That's only right now until, that's another question that we're going to have about when the, what is the word I'm looking for? When the bond is released and we become part of the township, because that hasn't happened yet.
Say what you just said one more time.
So the bond hasn't been released for the town, for us to really be part of the township. Apparently, we're in this like gray zone right now where we are in the township and we're not. We're only paying for our trash because we're considered private right now. We're only paying for our snow removal, I believe, because we're private right now. But once that happens, then the HOA is not responsible for providing any kind of security at all. We pay for all that stuff right now because the bond hasn't been released. We don't even have roads paved. We've lived there for 2.5 years.
But without the bond being released, I don't know. I'm not an attorney, so I do apologize. I'm just thinking out loud. Like, so can we obligate them to do anything? Like, the bond's not released. Can we obligate them to, I mean, I'm not saying that our police aren't going to be there as well, but to add additional protection, or if they have an issue and it's something that we're continuing to respond to, that they have to...
That's not the issue, sir.
Yeah.
The issue is the accountability of the kids. No matter how much security we have there, something has to be done to stop them. The only thing that's going to be done is not just a slap on the hand and be like laughing as they go along.
I'm not saying that at all.
They need to be held accountable. Their parents need to be held.
I'm not saying that at all.
Okay.
I'm just asking if we have additional security, what that looks like. I'm not saying that fixes the problem at all.
Yep.
Give me one moment. You have your opportunity, ma'am.
So, if I understand your question, in like an apartment complex, if there's a a resident in the apartment complex that's being disruptive to the rest of the residents, the landlord would then have the ability to evict that individual. Is that kind of the line of thought that you're thinking?
That way, or having additional security that helps along with our police department, right?
Typically, responsibilities and duties like that are established prior to the beginning of the project with the deed restriction and the homeowners association bylaws and those which already would be formed by now. I don't think this is like a gated type community which would have private security or those types of enforcement provisions. Without reviewing the actual deed restrictions and the bylaws, I can't tell you for sure, but I would be surprised if those responsibilities are within the homeowners association.
And ma'am, don't get me wrong, I'm not disagreeing with you saying, I'm not saying that I don't think that you guys need that. I'm just asking questions.
Okay.
So that if anybody else asks me, right, outside of Laurel Run, that I'm able to answer those questions as well. So Chief, I had a question for you. So when you encounter these problems, right, with these children, there's nothing you could do?
Nothing you can do.
What's the options?
Involved in large-scale placement responsibility and everything else. When we get there, we identify hundreds of people and everything else.
Scattered.
Out. We're working with them, we had a lot of videos that we were unaware of, just never done in the last wet scene. Like they have those wet scenes there, or two juveniles. Parent, she saw complaints and we, two juvenile arrests, I'll take it, instead of complaints.
Yeah.
There's some ongoing, anything else we encourage to call. A lot of times these things get reported on social media. And a lot of big departments we have on social media 24/7. So I encourage them to call. I've stepped up patrols in there as much as I can. I'm leaning on the lines of everything is enforcement at this point. Sometimes you get the point across, it's fairly across the board, I think that would be against any kind of rules or regulations. But it's going in there, having the presence in there. We suggested, in the past, that we put an extra car over there. So when kids break the windows, guys are on the seat cars, but we're going to come up with some ideas, maybe even a stop camera on a pole. I don't know how they would feel about that. I can drive around to the warehouse right now. You see these cameras every once in a while with flashing blue light for surveillance purposes. We're attempting to get one of them as of this morning. We hope with the block, which is a company in Newtown, that is afraid that they have to understand and put that up in their community and they don't want to look at that, But I didn't want to say anything until we actually get that in-house. It'll be used in other parts of the town too, but there's just some general ideas we're trying to come up with.
And I want to ask you this, but you can say that you need to uncover or you need to look into it. From what we're saying, does this ordinance, if we're able to look into it, does that help, does that help give you more leverage on what you can do?
I reached out to both the captains, chief on Friday. They put it in place after they had an issue last year during one of the events, which led them to cancel all future events. To date, we put on the books, there was someone doing books for a year. They've only had to use it one time. Sometimes we put on the books, parents know about it, less about social media wise. They got a pretty good return on it. They could Google it on every major Philadelphia news station, and they haven't had any problems.
That's what we're looking for.
Good.
Because we feel like once they know that there's some accountability,
Right.
then they're going to be reeled in a little bit, and then this is going to curb it. Not saying it has to be used all the time, but when I say it's out of control, it's out of control. I mean, it's not just here and there, a little bit of things like any given moment, I'm waiting for something to happen to my home. So,
Yeah, I don't want you to live like that.
No.
Yeah.
And you know what's so important, and I am so thankful that you, ladies and gentlemen, are coming forth with this. I've read it on 08060. At any given time, I'm riding around the township, and to hear behavior like this, there has to be accountability. You and I, we don't work just to have our property damaged and people to do things. I don't want to see my children watching someone urinate somewhere or see fights and things like that, or have to be worried about my safety when I'm going somewhere. That is unacceptable. Quality of life in West Hampton, Laurel Run, all over West Hampton has to be restored. And we all have to take accountability for that. I don't accept it, and I don't expect anyone else just to accept it and sit idle while things like that are happening. Because guess what? I don't want to be in the news when your child or my child is hurt behind something like that. We have an opportunity to do something about it, and we have to do something about it. Who's responsible for the children?
Their parents.
Exactly.
You just gave me chills, by the way. I literally still have chills right now, because that is what we were looking to hear from our township. Exactly that, what you guys are offering to help us with, is why we're standing here, and we thank you very much. And whatever we can do, you know, to work with the police department. I know the apartment complex has also been in contact with them. It's a lot of different working things, but the accountability is all we're asking for right now, because we think that that's going to help curb all of this.
In your opinion,
Yeah, go ahead.
in your opinion, how many of the children engaged in this behavior are from your area?
So, we happen to know where some of it's coming from in our townhomes, but a lot of it is coming from the apartments, because we know who these kids are. They know who these kids are. We see them. We know it. We just watched them when we were picking each other up to come here. And we're like, oh God, what are they doing right now? So a lot of it is in our community. A lot of it is the apartment complexes that have become friends with people in the townhomes. And I do believe, do we get people from Willingboro over or from neighboring towns? Probably. But not really, that's not what we're feeling. We're feeling like it's our community and them just being able to run amok. And they're out of the parents' apartment, and they're like, just go, and maybe the parents aren't aware.
I was gonna say, have any of you guys ever talked to any of the parents?
We don't know who the parents are. I mean, the apartment complex is huge. We know who some of the ones in our community are, there's a couple houses in our townhouse. We have not been, what's the word I'm looking for? We're scared of them now, because they...
Kids or the parents?
The parents. We're scared to speak up around them anymore. That's how volatile it is, and how their parents, we're afraid of them doing something to us at some of these homes. So this is what we're living with every day.
Well, I realize that you're not going to answer this, but I'm curious if, should the police engage a juvenile from out of town? Are the parents from that out of town subject to our... I have not yet gotten to read the text of the ordinance, but I imagine that there's some kind of mechanism to hold the parents accountable for the behavior and actions of the children.
If they don't live in our town.
Yeah, I would say that.
I'm generally familiar with the Gloucester Township ordinance for parental responsibility. I'm not sufficiently to answer that question. There's also some state legislation that was adopted, I believe, in 2025. I've, again, looked at it. I'm not that familiar with the answer off the cuff, but prior to the next meeting, I can review both of those, work with the chief and the administrator, and discussing it further with council, with the committee.
And not to put more work on the schools, but now that we'll have a SRO in the building, you know, getting to know those kids is going to be huge. I know for me, in a district that had an SRO, we knew about things that were happening in the community based on Facebook. I was able to identify kids as the principal, so I would definitely just, you know, use the school to our advantage too. I know it's now summertime, but, you know, for any kind of assistance or help, that they can at least help identify, you know, getting you contact information, that kind of stuff too. And hopefully the SRO can make some relationships with these kids and make some sort of difference too.
Ma'am, did you have something in the black?
Go ahead.
That's okay. Thank you. My name is Tracy Reed, and I'm from 45 Alexander Way. And I'm with them. We've knocked on houses to get email addresses to try to make change in our community. With that said, we found out that about 60% of our community is investors, which is not what we bought into. So I don't know if the township knew that when you guys approved the building. I don't know how that happened, But this is part of the problem, is that when we were going to some of these houses, they were just, some were like, okay, we'll give it to our landlord to fill out. We had a QR code. Other ones were like, not answering the door, you know. But going back to what she was saying about our community and stuff, I'm on the board, and I reached out to our property manager about, is there a way we can shut down the park? Because they threw cans, broken bottles, glass all over the park. People were trying to clean it up, but they weren't touching the glass. I wouldn't either. She said, we can't close the park. I said, can we put a gate around the park and have a key pass like departments do with the swimming pool? She said, no, we can't do that. And I said, why? She said, until the bond is released to D.R. Horton and the developers, we can't do anything with our bylaws and governing documents. So that kind of like answers about D.R. Horton. I think they should be responsible for doing some of this. We have path lights that every time these kids take a golf club and break the top of it, or smash it with a ball, or I saw this big rock right next to a broken one, we reported to our HOA to have them fix it. It's like $500 and some to fix too. Then our lights go out. We asked them, you know, what's going on with our lights. They went out and checked them. They think that it could be a breaker or wiring issue, that the builder, D.R. Horton, is going to have an electrician come out and look at it. We don't hear anything. Coming in on Francis Way off of, is that Springdale? Springside. There's 2 poles, light poles down, that's been down for over a year from an accident. Nobody, the insurance company has no idea. Nobody has no idea about this accident.
And there are open wires that are sparking.
Yes, live wires on the ground. People are complaining about the safety, and then we got everything with the kids. So my feeling is, if D.R. Horton and the developer are not doing their part of what they sold us into, this beautiful community, and fix it to where it should be, they should be held responsible for fixing the lights, fixing the playground. It's costing us homeowners more money. The apartments do pay like 41% and, or 49%, we're 51% of the shared costs. But the damages are every day. We have some community members here tonight that actually cleaned up some of the cups and stuff, but left the fireworks, all the papers from the fireworks, because Saturday night, they were shooting off fireworks. I was walking my dog at 11:30, I literally was in shock because I thought I was getting shot at, because some of the fireworks, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, what's going on? And they were coming from the park. And I do know that somebody did call. Somebody reported that in our WhatsApp group, that they did call, thankfully. But it's like these kids just, and the parent, when I was driving by, I know where the kids were coming from. There's 25 of them coming out of somebody's garage at 11:20, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe because of the storm, they're ready to go home now. I was in Ocean City, so I don't know when the storm hit here. But no, it's like boom, 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 and the parent's standing there. And it's just out of control. But from what I'm told, we can't do anything with really anything on the property until the bond is released.
Can I speak to that?
Yes.
So basically what she's saying is we're caught between a rock and a hard place right now. And like I said, I've been there for 2.5 years and nothing has changed. I thought roads were going to get paved the second we sold the last houses last October. There's a pond behind my house that was supposed to be beautiful with a fountain. It's a mud pit, and apparently that's part of the reason is the developer can't get that under control, and it's not doing what it needs to do as far as draining is all over I don't even know what to say. It's horrible. So nothing's being turned over and the bond isn't being released because they're not being held accountable. We're talking about accountability to our builder and the, and D.R. Horton and the developer, Esposito. Like, everyone just pointing fingers at everybody else, and nothing's getting done. And we're sitting here going, how do we get something done? So not only we're having a kid issue, but we're having this other issue, which also does kind of roll in together, that we're not technically part of the town. We're considered private property still, but we shouldn't at this point in time. The last house sold last October. I mean, we're talking it's July now. So, what'd you say? No, our roads aren't paved. No, we haven't, we have flooding, that storm, flooding all over the place. Because the drains are like up this high, and then the roads are down below, so nothing's draining. It's a mess all over the place. Like, yeah, no roads paved. I mean, it's just, you're like weaving in and out of like hazards every time you come into your home because it's, yeah. So you're trying not to hit the sewer, and then you got the potholes that have some stuff around them, so you're trying to like weave in there. Like, it's, try to drive through there.
No, I've been through there. I was just there like, maybe last week.
Okay,
I ride my bike through there and look around there.
okay.
And, Ms. Mitchell, you were here at our last meeting, were you not, ma'am? Yeah, okay. So we've been in touch with our engineer, and they've been in touch with ESPO about the punch list, and a lot of email traffic is going back and forth regarding your concerns regarding that as well, okay?
Okay.
Any ETA, this is all going to happen, because as an HOA, we just put a parking and towing policy through, so we're just waiting for our signs and all that stuff, because that's another problem we're having, is abandoned cars. We have AAA in there that just dumps abandoned cars, and then he stood in a parking spot because she
Whoa,
didn't abandoned
what do you mean
cars.
AAA don't abandon cars?
AAA
So,
cars.
three homes in our development are AAA, and they're not supposed to have their commercial vehicles in there, period, but they do all the time. Park in front of the first stop sign when you get in there, but they are now abandoning cars all throughout our community. I'm not kidding you. We can tell you,
Cars that they towed is leave there?
that are inoperable.
For how many days?
Oh, they're weeks, months, years. This has taken us forever, not even kidding you, to finally get this parking and towing thing done. So hopefully in the next week or two.
There's cars with no tags,
No tags.
and they've been here for years. They'll have sparks over.
We also have some cars that are parked there that somebody's watching for, deployment purposes. Which I'm okay with that, because you're probably.
But not only don't have enough
But
parking.
put them up by the park, where all that overflow is, not right.
They have cars there, say that one more time, for what?
They,
Military.
Because I'm telling you that the park up at the, by the park, where there's parking, you don't take up 5 spots.
But are they residents?
A resident will be holding cars for other people. That's one thing that we are working on, but the other one is all these abandoned cars, no tags, expired tags. I mean, I was brazen. I know I probably shouldn't have done this, and I was just really, really angry. But I was outside a couple weeks ago, and I was watching them take one off a flatbed to dump it in another parking spot where nobody can park because we can't find parking spots at night. I just stood in the middle of the parking spot, and the guy's screaming at me, and I'm just standing there. He's like, "You need to move?" I said, "I don't have to move." I said, "You're about to dump this car here like you've dumped every other car here, and it's not going to move." "Oh, this is my second car." I'm like, "It has expired tags. It hasn't moved. This is like over a month ago." I had it, he's like, "Well, I'm calling the police." I said, "Call the police." And I said to the officer who came out, I said, "I apologize." And he's like, "It's okay, this is what we're coming out." I said, "I am just so fed up." And he's like, "I understand." I said, "Just talk to me." I said, I'm gonna move, but I am making my point to this. They all know each other. We figured this out in all of our knocking on doors and walking around. We know where everybody is and who everybody is, and we literally watch them doing this. So, with this new parking and towing thing, we have to get our signs put up, and then they are given, 48 hours to move their vehicles. If not, they're going to start getting...
So the HOA with that?
Yeah, we're finally, I mean, this has been a long time coming. Documents, yeah.
Everything's so strict in there. I'm just learning all this, so every little thing that we're trying to do, we have to change all the documents.
The bylaws,
Because
yeah.
there's that, like fencing. We are pushing for fencing to get through, that's why we're collecting emails, because these kids are just running in our backyards, throwing.
And peeing, yeah.
I have a retention base behind me that is filled with water. Somebody put a yellow duck floating. I don't know if somebody was trying to float in it or not, but that was around there, and I did report that. The kids have broken the wooden fence. That's another thing, put this fence up. Yeah, it looks nice until the kids bash it in, but now it's unsafe because the little kids can just go right through it.
I said from the beginning, that's not a safety fence at all. Kids are going down in there, little kids. little kids.
I just back up to the retention fund, the fund number, my son, and last summer kids were swimming, but there was a little bit of water in there. And they were little kids, and part of the HOA, they couldn't do anything, and this is when there was no fence. And I said, okay, well, when a child gets stuck in this mud pit and drowns, who's responsible? Us as the homeowner, we're lined up and when something happens, then what are you gonna do? And they put this fence up, then they jump on the fence. Now the fence is broken.
We're talking, it's a wood fence with just 3 bars. Like, any kind of body of water usually is supposed to have a fence around it. The kids just weave in and out of it, the little kids and whatever, and they just go down in there.
They were swimming in this swamp.
Yeah. When it was the winter time with ice, they were out there on there thinking it was a nice skating rink, it could have broken
I
it.
ripped them off because
Yeah.
I told them, I said, it's not all your parents want to get it. Are you guys trying to think that that's frozen and it's not? And then they got off of it. But this fence, I moved in, it's been almost a year, August 15th, I moved in, and the fence has been broken. Nobody's fixed it, they keep, HOA keeps on saying it's DR Horton, DR. And then we go to DR Horton, and they're like, no, it's HOA. It's like.
And then somehow Esposito gets thrown under the bus.
Yeah. It's like, we don't know except to come here for help, because nobody's helping us. We just keep on, oh, it's not under warranty, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. It's really crazy, and it's a shame that they're building in other townships, because I really feel bad. We've had our HVAC systems, we try to do, what was it?
Yeah, that's all like your Horton.
Yeah, we had like a big thing, all of our heat, we were freezing, the heat wasn't working, then they come and say they didn't design it right. I mean, we just had so many issues, and so they just keep on pushing it off on us. So we're here asking for help.
And accountability and you guys said that, and I can see everybody's head nodding, and I'm loving every minute of watching you guys, like, see us and hear us and agree with us and want to help us, and we really, truly appreciate that. So if there's anything we can do, if you want our numbers or anything, like,
We'll look into it from here.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Ma'am, did you have something? Okay.
Gail Karen, 138 Winstead. Geez, I'm really sorry to hear about my neighbors down the street in that new development, what they're going through. And I'm glad that you came here. And you have to stand united. And this is your government. And one thing I'll say about this particular township committee is that they have big hearts and open minds, and they have the interests of the township at their heart. So if they say they're going to do something, I believe them. And so don't get discouraged. That's just my comment. I would go with the all of the above approach. I don't know if you have not considered contacting private counsel and considering possibly filing for civil injunctions to kind of bring this to a quicker and faster and more punitive type of approach? Something you couldn't think about.
I've been in contact with an attorney. We're trying to do a class action lawsuit against them. Unfortunately, in our contract of sales that we did, there was no arbitration in there.
There you go.
So that's not down. So yeah, thanks very much for that. We tried. Until we go like, when I heard you say arbitration, I'm like,
Yeah, it's a scary, I tell you, all right, I can't get onto that. And I know that there's an ordinance, but if you're technically not part of the town, but I know there's an ordinance that vehicles that are not properly titled, registered, et cetera, they can be towed by the police or whomever. So that still may be an option, because that ordinance is still in force. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
they don't have to have you say all the letters.
I
was told that they can't. The police officer came out and I'm standing in the parking lot that they can't because we're considered private property.
Okay.
Which puts us in that rock and hard place again.
That's really a Bob question, so I would turn that back over to Bob. Maybe he can flesh that out. I do want to offer my congratulations to firefighter Arbaugh. Fantastic, and congratulations to you all for allowing the chief to inaugurate that kind of an award. The firefighters, EMTs, they deserve all the credit they can get, and we're really grateful to have them here and in service to the township. So congratulations to him. And On the reports, I guess we didn't really talk about the reports, but I noticed in the June meeting that was canceled, there was the WTS report that was in the packet, and it wasn't included in this agenda, so are you resubmitting that, you know? Okay, it's a new format for the report. It's still posted up on the website. I really like it. I think it's really, really helpful for us as residents to read, you know, through the format of that and extract all of the content information from that. So I like it. Maybe some of the other departments may consider sort of, you know, just stealing the format for that. And then lastly, maybe a little bit of good news, I hope. I don't know. There's a nice picture of our deputy mayor here in the Pine Barrens Tribune. I tend to try to find these obscure publications that are around in our community.
What does it say about him?
So I'm going to leave this with you so you can see this nice photograph of you, and there's a story in there, so he knows what I'm talking about. So it was positive. I think if you read it, you'll understand the context of it, and, you know, I'll just say this, Deputy Mayor, you know, good for you for, you know, what the story talked a little bit about in here. You know, reaching out to the young people and giving them a lot of encouragement is really, you don't talk about it here, and I get that, but it's part of your fabric as a person, and I think that's, you know, we're lucky to have that here. So, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brian, the Executive Director of Florence Animal Rescue, which for the next 90 days will be your animal control. It's unfortunate that we weren't given at least a courtesy that the township was looking to terminate our contract with us, as the last conference that we had within our meeting is that there is no operational issue with our services. The issue is our billing. To a point where a comment was made by a party in the meeting saying that I was, and I quote, lining my pockets by the billables of the township. First off, we are a nonprofit organization. I do not take a salary from my organization. So when it comes into a point where my integrity is questioned, when the documents are directly in front of me, I have issues with that. Now, going further into it, when we provided the township with the contract, as your clerk can contest to, we provided you guys with 2 options. One of them was a flat rate full service for the year, totaling, I believe, it was $1,925 every month. As I'm sure your chief of police can contest to, I am out here all hours of the day with no issues. The county has my direct cell phone. I answer it. If any of these officers call me, I answer. And I want to be very clear with this. I had 0 issue with your police department. Every one of your officers from the top down were superb. I've been doing animal control for 15 years. I was a humane law enforcement for another 6. The issues I have are not an operational feat. They are administrative. We provided, if the members of you that were here last meeting, you had residents that brought into effect a need for a program to regulate the feral cats in the township. I provided the township with that program 5 months ago. And the response I got was, yeah, we're not interested. Which is interesting because your county supports that program. I have that program in over 100 municipalities across the state. Your township has an issue with feral cats. In 4 counties that I'm aware of, there's over 100 cats. And the response that I've gotten is, yeah, we're not interested. That provides your residents with issue of cats on their property, which I'm sure your chief can contest to, because I have all those reports myself. To health issues of the various viruses that cats can dispense, and rabies. I'm going to be crystal clear. The town has a rabies situation. I provided that notice to the township 4 months ago in April. My office and me directly, because I hold that information extremely tight, have been dealing with that. where that matter had 5 individuals, including myself, exposed. While I am unfortunate, well, it is unfortunate that the town is deciding to terminate our contract, where I have been attempting to have a meeting with any member of this body to see where you guys want us, see how your residents are coming to you and what their concerns are. We're not perfect, no organization is, but we are making the steps to always provide the best service across the board. Going back to our contract offer that we provided the township, that first option was a flat rate. You would have had everything for that number. I pushed your clerk to recommend you guys to take that contract, to take that option, because that is the overall cheaper of the two. It's not a great business move for me, but it provides the township with a flat rate. That way you can appropriately budget for it, and it provides your residents with the full services that they need. Every time I'm out in the town, and I'm in town a lot, we help the residents in every manner that we can. We've offered the TNR program to control the feral cat population. We've offered a free microchip clinic to your residents to microchip their dogs and cats at no cost to the township or your residents. That was shot down. At the end of the day, while we provide animal control, that is not our primary function. We are a nonprofit animal rescue. To help the residents and the animals is our primary focus. And again, when I happen to point the integrity that my personal and professional integrity gets questioned, is why I'm here today. I did not know that the township was looking to terminate our contract until about an hour before the meeting, when I just so happened to look at your agenda. So, on that side of it, I've been coming to municipalities for years. It's unfortunate that our partnership is going to end like this. Should you guys, again, I don't know if you already voted on that or not. If you guys did, it is unfortunate that that is the route that the township is looking to go, because at the end of the day, we are ultimately trying to provide the township, your department, and your residents with the best service that we can. And as it is made very obvious to me when I speak with your officers, your last provider wasn't that great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No other questions? Motion to close? Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor, I'm bringing up a personal privilege. If you wouldn't mind, real quick.
You want to talk in the mic? Well, you don't have to. You got a loud voice.
I'm going to hang out right here. Chief Wadsworth, today is his 10-year anniversary as a fire chief.
You didn't need the microphone for that, I guess. Congratulations, Chief.
Congratulations.
All right, so dates to remember. Well, we're going to close for public comment. All in favor? Aye. Dates to remember. Next Recreation Committee meeting is July 8th at 7 p.m. Historic Commission, July 22nd at 7 p.m. Land Development Board meeting is August 5th at 7 p.m. Township Committee meeting is August 11th at 7 p.m. Now, we have committee liaison reports and comments.
I'll start. I was going to thank the chief for even doing the quarterly award, because I think that's really cool to do, like an employee. I see employee of the month, but employee quarterly, and then they get a parking spot. Very cool. So congratulations to Julian Arbod for receiving that first recognition. And congratulations, 10 years. Thank you for your leadership to our town. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you for shouting him out. The PSE&G presentation I thought was very good, because I didn't know any of this was happening, so that was very helpful. Thank you, Rick, too, for your input there. Thank you to the residents for coming out and sharing your concerns again, something I was not aware of. I haven't been on Facebook lately, so I was not aware that you guys were having those issues there in the in your community. So thank you for sharing, and I thank Gary for those kind words about our committee. I think that we do really care, so we will do what we can, if possible, obviously within our purview, to be able to help you. I don't have any liaison reports. Our historic committee had a meeting we had a meeting in May, and then there were no other new business, so they've been postponed since. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out. I agree with everything that Committeewoman stated, and definitely share the same sentiments. Congratulations to EMT Julian on being the first employee of the quarter. I thought it was really awesome. We have to recognize people as much as we possibly can. And so I'm looking forward to the next one. Happy 10 years to you, Chief Farnsworth. That's nothing small, that's a big deal. And we appreciate your line of work and everything that you do for the township. Also thank all of our department heads for the monthly reports. I do read them. I read them this month. You can tell that a lot of time and detail go into the reports. I appreciate the photos. We can't be in every section of the township, and so being able to read that brings us up to speed and keeps us up to date with what's going on. So thank you all. We really appreciate it. As far as liaison reports, don't have much of a report. Did go to the graduation at West Hampton Middle School on June 17th. It was absolutely wonderful, something that I take pride in, joy in, and just seeing them excel and get ready for their next phases in life. And I believe it's all of our duty and responsibility to support them, push them along, and encourage them. They definitely are our future. And last but not least, I hate that we have to address this, but to all of our Laurel Run residents, Ms. Michelle, thank you for coming out. And, you know, I was disappointed to hear everything that you're going through. It kind of sounds a little bit like a living horror story, and it's not just one thing. It seems like it's multiple things over long periods of time. And I definitely, like I said, was disappointed and horrified to hear it. However, I'm glad that you came. I'm glad that you spoke about it. We all need to know what's going on and try to provide insight, guidance, and to see what it is that we can do. I also like that you brought a solution. And so to that point, I am going to Google this ordinance that you're referring to from Gloucester Township, and I look forward to being presented that ordinance specific to West Hampton Township. You shouldn't have to go through these things. So anything we can try to do, it might not be perfect, but just making some type of progress. It sounds like that's what you're looking for, safety, progress, and to be heard. And that's all my comments. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for your attendance. Congratulations, Chief, for 10 years of dedicated service. And we also appreciate the fact that you instituted this great award for Julian, and we're looking forward to having great things from him. The PSC&G presentation was awesome. We look forward to this project, anything that can help perpetuate the success of this great town. We're looking forward to this project. I'm just looking at the fact that it's a 10-month project. I'm hoping it doesn't turn into a project that's years down the road. So obviously, we have to stay on them and make sure that we monitor everything that happens with regard to that project. Also, for all of the reports, police, public works, construction, and the courts, thank you for those reports. A lot of great information. You learn so much by looking at those reports, and the amount of time and effort that went into those, we really appreciate those. In terms of liaison committee reports, I too attended the West Hampton Middle School graduation. My daughter graduated along with police chief. I mean, we all attended that graduation, so we were very happy to be there. An excellent show of success for the kids, and we're looking forward to great things wherever they go, whether it's RV or BCIT or wherever they go, so we're happy with that. As far as the Recreation Committee is concerned, they continue to do great things. Camp is going on now. I was there 3 times yesterday. Rain, no rain. Pick them up, drop them off, pick them back up. And just to see all of the different things that was going on that field, from volleyball to multi-sports to dance. We dropped them off. We picked them back up, the rain. So it's just great to see that Todd and Robin, those guys continue to do a tremendous work for the kids, not only in this particular township, but all over. And happy to see great things. I guess we'll be meeting tomorrow also to look at the amount of programs that we have going on, everything from flag football to Zumba and, all those other kind of things. Ladies and gentlemen, I am touched, more than you'll ever know, with regard to your thoughts and your feelings. We pay a lot of money, not just for our property, but for taxes and all of these other kind of things. If you're anything like me, I just want peace. I want to be able to go where I pay and enjoy it. I don't want to have to deal with those other outside things. I want people to be responsible for their property, for what they do, and I want them to be responsible for their children, just like I'm responsible for mine. If mine does something, I want to be addressed so I can take care of that. It is disheartening to hear that when you talk about the great American dream of purchasing a home and having a nice car and doing all of these other kinds of things, you have to be subjected to behavior like that, not just as adults. I don't want my children to experience that as well. And you have elected officials here, and we're responsible, and I'm glad you guys came here, because you came, you brought the problem to us, and I charge all of us with being able to do something so your quality of life is better. We have to do what we have to do to make it better, not just for you guys. I'm a resident of West Hampton just like you are. And I want to be able to go to work, come home, enjoy life. And that's not too much to ask for. And I'm glad that you thought to come to your elected officials and say, listen, we have a problem and we need your help. And now the responsibility is on our shoulders to do what we can to try to help you to have a better quality of life. This is not an easy job sitting up here. We have good days and we have bad days. But if we don't know it's broken, we can't try to fix it. And there's a lot going on in this city and a lot of things that we're trying to do. And having Laurel run in that quagmire of part of it, not part of it, it's got to be very difficult. I assure you that trouble doesn't last always. Thank you.
I really appreciate Gail turning up the heat on our responsibilities, so thank you. I do. I echo all of my colleagues' statements. I don't want to beat a dead horse. One question was asked, ma'am, do we have an ETA on that? I'm failing in my response for it. I do not have an answer for you right now, but I will get it. I will dig back into it. I can assure you that our administrator and engineer were working on it immediately after you brought it up to our attention the last time, and I'll follow up on it this week. I think you have a meeting tomorrow as well, sir, with Ms. Mitchell. So, denied. And
How do we get filled in as to what's going on? How do we, we're going to walk out of here and we're like, oh my God, they're so great, it's awesome, they're helping us, but how do we know what's happening? How do we find out? Does that make sense? How do we know what's going on? How do we get updates?
I don't know how to answer that. I can ask our administrator to make sure he fills you in, but sometimes we're still filtering through information as well. Like the last time you came, we reached out to our engineer to help us just wade through that quagmire to figure out what's going on, right? And the engineer has his team work on it, and then they send the email, requesting information from that developer, Escondido, and I'm not even sure if we received an answer to that, So the best I could say is I'll ask the administrator and his team to try to stay in contact with you, keep up-to-date information. I think not the reluctance to that, but sometimes we don't want to give you bad information either until we know it's true as well. Our next meeting is August, I believe, and between now and then, we have some time to work on the ordinance, look into it, tweak the language if necessary, and get that introduced. It takes 2 meetings for the ordinance to be introduced, so you're looking at late August, early September for that to go live as well. if the whole committee agrees to that. So, yeah, I'm sorry, that's not the best answer. Yeah, it's,
I feel like we're in the limbo of it, and I don't think you're going to be able to spot.
yeah.
I mean,
How about this? When we follow up this week into it, if we have no update, we'll let you know if we have no update. How's that?
We have seen the developer out in the community a little bit, so hopefully that's an improvement,
So, it makes it very difficult to keep minutes, when people aren't coming up to the microphone here. Also, public comment has been closed.
Guys are breaking the rules. No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking. After you.
I appreciate it. I know it's a difficult situation to be dealing with right now, and I wholeheartedly agree with Ms. Canty-Maddox's comments. I want to just be able to enjoy my space. So I'm sorry that you're not able to do that right now. With that, thanks Gary as well. You're always in the details, and that's very much appreciated. I also think you have $300 in subscription fees to all the papers you follow. Every time I try to look at something you bring up, I hit a paywall or something. But seriously, do appreciate it. And thank you to firefighter Arbaugh for his great work and dedication to our town. And my last comments regarding Chief Farnsworth. He's been a big piece of yarn up to our fabric of our community. His mother was my school teacher in West Hampton Middle. I don't know, Bob, we might have to make July 7th Farnsworth Day or something.
You bring the cupcake.
Got a shout out.
Get your ShopRite cake. Get your ShopRite cake.
That concludes my comments, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to our neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you. I try to keep it short but sweet, which has never been a good thing. Maybe, and Craig does a good job of this, maybe you guys have your Laurel Run Facebook page. Maybe we can send some updates on there. Does that sound like something? Are you guys all a part of that where you'll be able to read? And also that may notify some of the parents that are having some of the issues, some of the things that you guys are struggling with, or some of the things you're trying to achieve, and maybe that'll help curb some of the troubles you're having as well, right? When they see that, the township is involved and we're making comments on this page. So I think that would be helpful. So Craig, if you can be, I hate to bother you on your anniversary, we have a history of getting it right, so that's why I'm more comfortable maybe, right? I don't want that to be taken as me taking it lightly. We just have a really good group of people who have a history of getting it right. And sometimes it doesn't take us 2 weeks to get it right. Sometimes it takes us a month, but we do get it right. And you have a committee who has a history of figuring out and getting it right. Like, we're around. We're very fortunate that we're all in different parts of the town. So that's why when you talked about the street, I'm like, yeah, I just zoomed through there. Like, I just rode through there on my bike. Like, I did see that. And I'm troubled that I didn't see the broken light. And there wasn't too much going on when I was there. It's probably just getting dark. It's probably dusk. But I'll try to be a little bit more present because of, as I see it, and I have said things to people. Like, I have said things to kids in a polite way, but I have asked, for different behavior, different things, and usually those people comply. But, us being around, and, I can tell you that Craig's putting things together. I did talk to him a little before, not Craig, Chief Ferguson, a little prior to the meeting, just, trying to figure out exactly what's going on. So I don't want to, tell everything that he's working on, but he is working on some things to make things a bit easier for you. I'm saddened that, this has been your situation, right? But take comfort in, we have history in getting it right. I know that some of you guys haven't been here that long, so that's why I want to stress that. Bear with us. We have a really, and I haven't always been able to say this, right? But we have a really good group of people who are here who really care about this town and what it looks like. And I think you could even see that from all the elected officials that are up here who weren't aware of everything that was going on. But as importantly, I think our police department was aware. All right, so now we just have to have communication back and forth. I'm sure our administration is aware. So just give us a bit, and feel free to reach out to us. I would say, and I'm saying to my animal control gentleman in the back, I know at some point, I think that you emailed me, but I haven't had access to email in about 2 months. We've been trying to fix the iPad that I had. It's about 9 years old, so I think behind the desk there, they have a new iPad for me after 9 years. So I'll be able to see some of the emails, and I think that I've heard that you sent me a few emails.
What I would say is, even though we only have a server enough for another 9 days, I am more than happy to talk to you.
Sure, I'll make sure I give you my number, and we can have a conversation. But I still direct it to, we as elected officials try to manage as much as we can. But it's just as important that we put the people in place here, right, that run the township itself. It's tough to run a township. All of us have full-time jobs. We all have families. We all do everything that we can possibly do. But we in our lives and in our families to make things run smoothly and put people in best positions possible. But we also have to do that here. So, again, my apologies if there hasn't been any contact, but I trust the people who are here, who are around me, to make the best decision for our town. Because history shows that they very rarely get it wrong. But we are more than welcome to have a conversation anytime you like. Last but not least, and this is again, one, Gary, thank you for your kind words. And I can guarantee that we'll continue to try to live up to that till the day that someone else takes the seat, whoever that may be, right? And that they have bigger shoes to fill in. So we set the bar high so that the bar can continue to be raised. As far as the developer, I'll try to get in contact with the developer. I mean, Deputy Mayor Carr and I are both on Land Development Board, and I think at some point in time, we've probably had some conversations with the developer. I think it's just a few steps to try to get in contact with the person that matters. So I make the commitment that I will try to do that, and I will have a conversation with them about the complaints that we received today, and how you guys feel about that. So I make that commitment to get that done. If there's anything else, what I would suggest is those doors are always open. And even though it may seem like a bit of a complaint sometimes, I mean, it's what makes us aware. So, don't feel like you can't come in here and say what you need to say, because obviously it gets the attention, right? The squeaky wheel gets the attention. And it's not always bad to be the squeaky wheel. So, you see change for the better, feel free to come in here and say, we've seen change for the better. If you say there's more work to do and you have some other suggestions, then feel free to say that as well. But I welcome anyone to come here anytime. This is what it's all about. We were elected by you all, and that means something to every single one of us up here. We take an oath to fulfill those rights and take those steps, and we take those things very seriously. So, again, please let us know what's going on, one way or another. With that being said, resolution number 10726, resolution authorizing the Township Committee and support staff to meet in private session, authorizing the exclusion of the public from a portion of the meeting dealing with specific issues requiring non-public discussions. Attorney-client privilege, ASME, collective bargaining agreement, negotiations. Attorney-client privilege, pending litigation. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion for 10726.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you all.